Welcome back. Well, here we are back in Te Anau, and this is the day following our Milford Sound experience with the snow the day before. This is now the Saturday, the 27th April, and we are leaving Te Anau. We're going to do a deep dive down south. We're going to come inside of the Southern Ocean. When we get there, we're going to turn left, travel along the bottom of the country, bottom of the South Island. Plan is to head up to Bluff, back to Invercargill for a lunch, and then forge on up to Mosgiel through the Catlins to then make a final push up the east coast and return the motorbikes back to Christchurch. So that's the plan. Now we're not going to do all of that in this particular video. We're going to take us all the way through down to the Southern Ocean, a little bit further along, a place called Orepuki, where we did stop, pull over to put on the wets, because at that point Southland decided, well, wind wasn't enough, we were going to give rain as well. So at that point the wets had to come out for those riders amongst us that didn't yet have the gear on, so we pulled over and took a break then. Now in the meantime, let's get back to the ride which we're presently doing, and as we're leaving Te Anau, we're heading along initially State Highway 95, which takes us through to Manapouri. We're going to see to the right there Lake Te Anau, massive lake. Next time I come into town, I'll definitely be having a little bit more of an explore around the lake and the edges. Massive lake, but what with one thing and another, we didn't really spend too much time exploring Lake Te Anau at all, so you always got to leave something to do next time, right? And that's certainly left there hanging. Now the State Highway 95 heading through to Manapouri. Quite a nice ride. Some nice long straight sections of road. The road's in good shape. I mean, to be honest, most of these roads leave North Island roads in their dust as far as the road quality is concerned. I think they build them more resilient down here because of the extreme temperatures that are experienced, unlike much of the North Island, which just gets pounded by rain and heavy trucks a lot of the time. Anyway, we eventually came to Manapouri, and short distance along the waterfront here. Then we turned up we're off the State Highway now, and onto Hillside Manapouri Road, which, as we're heading along here, I thought, okay, well, you know, we've got some pretty decent sunstrike going on. I thought, well, if we're going to have that the whole way to the bottom, it's going to be a little bit awkward. But thankfully, as we headed along not too far from Manapouri itself, we turned right down Weir Road, and this was where the scenery just got pretty stunning. We're surrounded by mountains, flat lands on either side until we start to climb up into the lower hillsides a little bit, and this was really one of the most a really enjoyable section of the riding. Pretty much heading us down towards, we were heading for Tuatapere for our first actual stop and break, and in the meantime we got to enjoy this road and countryside, which was really a treat. You just don't get roads and riding like this, at least not within easy distance of us in Auckland. Now as we're riding along Weir Road, thinking, you know, the views are pretty good, the riding is easy, it's really pleasant kind of riding along here, and thinking, well, I wonder what's going to be around the next corner, and it turns out there's a whole lot more, because as we got to the end of Weir Road and eventually switched, we're still not yet on any state highway. Once we got to the end of Weir Road, we turned onto Blackmount Redcliffe Road, and that then kind of leads up into the hills. This one leads through to Tuatapere, and along here the riding got even more, you know, enjoyable. Really spectacular scenery, and we start to get some really good close looks at snow-topped mountains in the distance to the left of us and ahead of us as we start climbing up. Now this time we didn't reach any snow line, thank goodness. Didn't really want to be doing that all over again, and we were kind of spoiled with the weather at this stage of the ride. The riding was real easy. We had our wets on our bike because we just wanted to keep the chill out as well, and figured, well, it is going to rain at some point today. The weather forecast that we saw when we were leaving Te Anau did suggest that rain was going to be hitting Southland later on in the day. Now, when we left Te Anau, it was still around about 8 o'clock, so it's still early in the morning, and at this stage of the day we really had fine weather, and it just allowed us to properly appreciate and enjoy this section of the road. The terrain around here was amazing, so let's just take a little moment to enjoy what it's got to give. As we were coming up that side of Blackmount Redcliffe Road, we were riding in a little bit of shade, so we must have had some overhanging mountains or hilltops that were keeping us from the sun. As we rounded the corner, saw a lot of plantation forest that had been cleared directly ahead of us that pretty much laid that whole thing out. And we came into, well, I guess you'd call it sunshine, bright sunshine, for a spell, which is also kind of interesting and warming. It was really good. And couldn't help but notice the work that had been done up here on the hillsides, where they'd stacked out all the timber ready for collection. We were just kind of marvelling at all this up here and thinking that they seem to have done a pretty good job here with clearing the hillside and not leaving any debris that's going to wash down over the road, at least once they've cleared away the logs for collection. So yeah, maybe the land's a little bit easier to work with in a forestry sense than some of the land up in the east coast of the North Island, where we've got some terrible troubles with forestry being cleared but then leaving a whole lot of debris around that washes into rivers and causes all kinds of chaos. Anyway, just an observation. I know nothing about forestry, so I'm not at all qualified to make any comment there. Anyway, we come to the end of Blackmount Redcliffe Road, and at this point we now rejoin the State Highway. This is us leaping onto State Highway 99. And once we've rejoined the State Highway network, we just got a pretty easy haul through to Tuatapere. It's a number of long straight stretches of road, not too much thinking needs to be done. You can just kind of roll on autopilot until we get through to the little town of Tuatapere, which has got a really nice little rest area off the side of the main highway where we can just all pull over, which we did, and took a wee break. Regrouped, stretched the legs, and got ready for the next section of the journey, which was we were planning to ride right through to Bluff. And I think we'll soon see us restarting from the place we took a break, Tuatapere, and rejoin now the main highway, State Highway 99 still, but it's now called, I think, the Tuatapere Orepuki highway, and it's coming down here that we will eventually get our first sight of the Southern Ocean. So looking forward to that. Haven't seen the Southern Ocean before, so this is going to be a first for me. Really looking forward to it. One thing we were told to look out for down here was the shape of the trees as you get closer to the coast. There is a strong prevailing wind here, and the trees have to adjust themselves accordingly, much like they do on the west coast of the South Island. The wind's whipping in from the Tasman there. The trees have a particular slant leaning away from the coastline. Apparently the southern part of the country has a similar issue with the wind whipping up off the Southern Ocean, which, speaking of which, is just about to come into sight over to the right hand side of the motorbike handlebars as we pass a place called McCracken's Lookout. We didn't stop over here, we just carried on rolling, but it was still pretty thrilling to see the Southern Ocean right there as we now turn left as such, and now we're heading along the bottom part of the South Island, heading in a west to easterly direction. Our goal is to get to Bluff, but we will end up stopping a little bit before then because we were getting some wind here. We were warned about wind on the trees, and we were starting to get some gusts along here as well. Now, we had a few days earlier had some unbelievable wind that we fought with just as we were heading up towards or between a place called Fairley and Lake Tekapo, up above Burke's Pass. The wind was absolutely shocker up there, really pushing the bikes all over the place. So while there was wind here and it was pushing the bikes around, with what we'd experienced a few days ago, it was kind of okay, yeah, this is alright, we can manage this. But eventually what that wind brought with it was rain as well, and that's where we pull over to the side of the road. We were all ready in our full wets, but a couple of riders in the group were not, so it was time to put on the full wets and prepare for the soaking, which inevitably followed. Yeah, so as it happened, this was pretty much the last of the dry road riding that we would do for the rest of this day, as the journey down to Bluff, back to Invercargill, and then up to Mosgiel for our overnight stay through the Catlins was pretty much conducted in varying degrees of rain, very wet roads, very slippery, but nevertheless it was an experience. We enjoyed it immensely, and I've got some good footage of that which will be coming through a little bit later on. Anyway, here we are pulling to Orepuki, and we have become aware that the rain is absolutely imminent, and there is a place that we can pull over to stop ahead. Road Captain Rex is indicating we're going to pull over and allow those that haven't yet got their gear on to fully prepare for it. And that's where we're going to leave this one. Hope you've enjoyed watching so far, and we will be back to continue this ride in the next following weeks. So meantime, take care out there, ride safe, have fun. See you next time.